What's up, guys? Thank you for clicking on today's video. I think you'll enjoy this one because I'm going to be going into a little bit of story time with a card that I spent so much time waiting to sell. And I actually sold it at the absolute lowest of the low. I got this card back in the COVID boom for every collectible, and I watched that price go down and down and down. So we're going to be talking about some of my key takeaways towards the end of the video. We're going to be going into what the card was, what the whole story was with it, and I think you'll really enjoy this one. Before we get into it, I did want to remind you that we've got a monthly giveaway. If you like and comment on this video and make sure you're subscribed to the channel, you'll be entered to win our monthly giveaway. I believe this month it is our Japanese 151 booster box valued at around $80. So just to get straight into the story, it was the Pikachu VMAX Chonkachu, the hyper rare from Vivid Voltage, the chase of the set, still the chase. Still a remarkably valuable card, surprisingly, even though there's thousands of them in a PSA 10, let alone how many exist that aren't graded. But I had acquired that card. There was a video a while back. It was one of the first several videos that I uploaded to this YouTube channel, and I acquired it from a person that I met on Facebook Marketplace, who we later became pretty close friends in the community then when I was back in California. I ended up scoring this massive haul of cards, an entire tote of Pokemon cards. There was actually some Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic the Gathering, some baseball cards in there as well. I ended up scoring it all for $140. I believe at the time it was actually worth almost $200 or $300 raw at the time, and I ended up scoring that card, for the price of the entire collection alone. He actually offered to sell the collection even less, but I felt terrible if I was going to do that. And he was mentioning about his newborn that he was just trying to get money for, and he was trying to make space in his trailer. So, anyways, that great video. Highly recommend you guys check that out. But that is where I scored this Chonkachu, and I ended up sending it off to be graded. I felt like, based on the videos that I had watched and what I had learned thus far, even though I really hadn't learned very much, and you'll find that out later in this video, I decided that it was worth grading. I felt like even in a PSA 9, it was going to be worth grading. At the time, it was extremely expensive to grade cards. I think maybe they had some specials, but I'm pretty sure I spent maybe like $50, maybe $70 to grade that card. It was insanely expensive for PSA still. And I ended up grading that card. Turnaround times were still crazy. I ended up waiting about 4 to 5 months for that card. So basically, and I don't remember exactly the months, but I'll show the history for price charting, what it has for the pricing. So around this period, 5 months later, it had dropped significantly. Prices were starting to go down at the time. Turnaround times were getting faster. Grading costs were going down. So prices were coming back down, and it was just kind of like coming back down to reality. And I was getting back into the hobby around that time. I had no idea how much these collectibles were supposed to be worth. And I say supposed to be because, let's face it, after the correction, we all know that these collectibles were never meant to be that expensive. It was just a time of just absolute chaos. Everyone was buying it up. It was impossible to find cards anywhere or packs. I mean, it was just crazy. The shortages were insane. And so basically, I had no idea that card was supposed to be worth significantly less, because all I had seen of it, considering Vivid Voltage, it came out during all of the hype, all I had seen was it was an extremely expensive card. And I said, you know what, I've always struggled with patience, I've always struggled with holding cards as investments, and I felt like this is going to be the time. I'm going to hold this card no matter what. I'm going to hold on to it and make sure to keep it as an investment. I'm going to keep it for 3 years or 10 years or 20 years. I was going to hold that card, and I watched it go down and down and down just month by month. I mean, it was dropping like $50 every month almost. And I watched it go from about $500 to $600 in a PSA 10 all the way down to $200. And at that point, I had seen how low it went, And honestly, I was scared. I was like, how much is this gonna go down? Is it gonna go down to $10, $20? You know, I just didn't know. And at that point, I just felt like I need to get my money back. You know, I was afraid, I was scared. I didn't know if it was just gonna keep going down. And I decided to sell at that point. So I sold it for about $220. And you know what? I think that was the best decision at that time. And even though that was the bottom, you know, that's where it kind of has leveled off since, you know, 2022, 2023. And I still feel like it was the best thing, because for all I knew at the time with my knowledge and expertise, I thought it was going to go down to rock bottom, and I just wanted to get my money back from at least the grading fees, because like I said, I spent, you know, I think $50 to $70 on grading fees. So that is the card. And what are my takeaways for this story? Well, number one is don't hold for too long, because sometimes you just have to realize that the price is, you know, it's not going to go back up. It's not going to happen. And maybe it will eventually go up, you know, somewhat, but are you willing to hold for that long? Are you willing to wait 10 to 20 years, you know? And if you are, then, you know, so be it. Hold for as long as you'd like. But in this story, I waited just the wrong amount of time. That is the phrase that I'm using for it. You know, I should have either sold it immediately, or I should have still held it. And I didn't do that. Another takeaway that I wanted to make for this video is that you should be aware of price history. You should be aware of what some of these collectibles typically go for, because sometimes there can just be extreme FOMO. There can be a lot of hype around a set or a card that just released. And I just feel like, you know, time and time again, we see from other sets that they show us what happens. You know, there's a crazy spike in the beginning of what it's worth, and then it goes down and it kind of overcorrects sometimes, so then it kind of maybe goes back up a little bit and then it levels off. You know, that's pretty much what happens. I mean, unless it's just a really bizarre case, most sets, that is what they do. So just, you know, be aware of history of other sets, price history, and you know, just learn from my mistake, learn from what I did here. So that's gonna wrap up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Skitty, I think she wants you to subscribe to the channel and like and comment on this video, because then you'll be entered to win this month's giveaway. I appreciate you guys. We'll catch you in the next one. Skitty, you want to come in? Is the Skitty. You're so cute. Wait, can I hold her like in my arm like you do? Like
yeah, you
this?
just you have
she
to
likes
like.
That.
You have to like yeah.
There we go. She like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Like my little python. The fact that she's paying attention to your hands so much. This is gonna look crazy. It's just gonna jump to this. Wait. Comment on this video, because if you do that, then you'll be entered. Then you'll be entered. Good girl, Skitty. You stayed on my arm the entirety of that video. You're so good.
Very minimal bitage.